Welcome to the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. On this episode, I have the wonderful honor of speaking with Chloe. Chloe is someone I met in the diabetic online community maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Chloe, could you give the world an introduction of who you are?
Hello, everyone. My name is Chloe, and as you all know, I am a type 1 diabetic. I have been a diabetic now for 17 years. I am a preschool teacher. I am also a college student, and I am a up-and-coming YouTuber. And I'm going to just shout my little page out, which is called Journey with Chlo. And so that is something that I do on the side, but other than that, I'm just your normal average girl, living her diabetic life. Everybody's walk in diabetes is different. So I wanted people because I remember I used to go on YouTube and I tried to find people that were like me and, that, vlogged about having type 1 diabetes. And I found people, but it was something that I was missing. I was like, I'm looking for a particular something. And the idea just popped in my head and say, well, why don't you start one? And I said, okay. So I ended up starting one, and I wanted to basically show, my life as a young woman, living with type 1 diabetes and being a preschool teacher, being a college student, how's life when you're diabetic, and dating. Like it's a lot to go into it, and those are some things that I haven't seen on YouTube. So everything just basically it helped me out in a sense with all the things that I was dealing with, with the low self-esteem, not necessarily low self-esteem, but it was more of I don't want people in my business. Like, what's that on your arm? And, are you supposed to be doing this? Are you supposed to be doing that? But being a part of that, being a part of what you did, and it helped me in the long run. And when I shared it with other people, it also helped them. And it enlightened certain people that has been in my life that's like, all right, I'm learning not to be the food police. And I'm like, yeah. So it was, like I said, the video was very encouraging to me and other, learning that I wasn't the only one that, dealt with the things that I dealt with. And on top of that, it also helped other people that, they weren't aware.
Right. Helped other people understand beyond what they just saw with you.
Yeah.
How you just said journey with Chlo. And you were just talking about it. Speaking of it, I was like, that sounds amazing, because I'm like, it will show a lot of first time events, like a first date. And I don't know if you would tell someone in advance, but just first date, like meeting someone and you're pulling out a pen or a pump or whatever, or you're beeping alerts going off and they're looking and like, this is a journey with Chlo. Like,
Yeah, basically, yes.
yeah,
I would do something like that. I mean, they would probably guess for my Instagram, but we're gonna go over that part of my life later on. But
every relationship isn't wrapped around Instagram.
I mean, well, here's the thing, and here's
Chloe, I follow you. I know about the grocery store. I know about the gym.
those are some really good stories, though.
They are, and I enjoy them. It should all be a part of the journey with Chloe.
It really should, and I haven't. I'm so mad because, like, I was supposed to put certain things. I don't know. Like I said, my life has been somewhat of a roller coaster, but honestly, I feel like I'm in my prime. Well, I'm starting to get into my prime. after these past 4.5 months. So we're getting there, and we're gonna
You're
stop
about to
for.
go chase what you want. You're about to go get it. You're not
Oh
going.
yeah,
You're not going to allow it to play you. You're going to go get what you want.
exactly, 100%.
Understood. Understood. I mean, I did want to retract a bit. You were 9 years young.
Hmm.
You were given this diagnosis. So third or fourth grade.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Um,
Oh,
Diabetes has been along this journey with you through elementary school, middle school, high school, college, life. Like it has been with you.
yes.
Um, do you remember life before diabetes?
I remember. Yeah, there's some memories. um, I remember being at a daycare with my mom because she worked in childcare and she was an educator for 25 years. And so she was a director at a school, and I remember it was my birthday, and I remember there was like the old school Tweety Bird cake. I don't know if a lot of people might remember it, but oh my gosh, I remember when she was cutting slices. I got to have whatever I wanted without having to take out a pen or, check my blood sugar or anything like that. Like everything was completely normal. Christmas was normal. I got to eat cookies, all that stuff without, you know, having my mom check my blood sugar or having her help me count my carbs and all this other stuff. And once I got the diagnosis, like I remember the I call it the first episode of diabetes. I remember the first episode of me finding out everything and how I won't say I was oblivious. I was kind of like, okay, like what's that? Like that's exactly how I was. And yeah, like I had good memories before it, but even now with diabetes, I there's bad and good memories, but overall, I would say they were all like really big learning experiences for me.
Right. Because you truly grew up with the diabetes. It may have not been the friend that you wanted to grow up with,
Right.
but
Right.
it was there along every journey, everything you've been through. Like I said,
Yes.
relationships, school, the trials and tribulations of
Yeah.
teenhood,
Hmm.
young adulthood. Like diabetes has been there.
Yes, it most definitely has. Like every step of the way, like no days off.
Right. None at all. It's not allowed, not permitted.
Oh yeah, most
You
definitely
look,
not.
we've tried taking some days off, and those days, take a day off, you're going to suffer for it for the next week.
Okay, literally, that was something I had to drill up in here at a young age because I was trying to take days off. I'm
Mm,
like, all of this. I said, I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. I went through that stage and, of course, like as I got older, I was starting to understand the seriousness of it. Especially, being young and then, you know, also being African American as well. Like you deal with so much and especially with the rates that that we deal with when it comes to like childbearing and all that stuff and how it's a little bit more impactful than you know other races, but like that was something I had to think about because diabetes and cancer and fibroids and stuff, it runs through my family. So I had to think about my future and think about my body and think about, okay, how should I correct, the old habits that I did have? And those habits was like, it's just like how I said, how we could eat whatever we want, but have it in moderation. But with me back then, I ate whatever I want. I didn't take my insulin, none of that. So I was really like, I was really just riding the wave and just, and that's
Mhm.
how it was. And I wasn't careful. I didn't understand the concept. It was clicking, but it wasn't clicking for me. Because I told myself, I said, well, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to eat what I want. I'm not going to be treated a certain way. If I want thirds or fourths, I'm going to get thirds or fourths. And it got so bad. This is going to sound really bad, but it got so bad to the point where I would, probably sneak a little donut here and there in the middle of the night and then just scurry on back upstairs. And my parents, they know. And, and my mom, she would always pray for me and things like that. And she'll come in the room and she'll be like, what's your blood sugar? And I'll take out my meter. And it was so bad. This is going to sound horrible. Um, so, uh, I would be like, oh, like I'll try and change the time and the setting. And I'm like, oh, well, it says that I'm 150. And then she'll take my finger because she knows when I'm lying. So she'll take my finger, pricked it, and the meter would read HI. And she's like, girl, what did you blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Mom, like, I did take my insulin. The thing is lying. But of course, that didn't slide with her. Knowing the type of woman she is, that didn't slide with her. And then also too, she was diagnosed with type 2. She had gestational diabetes with my sister. And then it went away and then it came back because she didn't lose the weight. So she knew the seriousness of it, but when I was diagnosed and when the doctor told her I was type 1, which we'll go over how that first episode started because my mom she was also like confused. Like, what do you mean? Like, get her to the emergency room. But, um, but so this was back in Chicago. This is back when we were living in Chicago. And she was also the director of that school as well. And so I was having little issues. Like they said, the first few symptoms of diabetes, they said like wetting the bed, increased thirst, you know. So that was something that I was experiencing. I was experiencing wetting the bed. And my mom was like, she don't do that. Like, what's going on? And she was noticing that I was getting a little bit smaller than usual. So every time I got sick, I would lose a lot of weight. And I was constantly like vomiting and things like that. And so she was very, she kept her eye on it. But so we get to school and I was kind of having some little issues going on, but I was still acting regular. I was running around with the Rice Krispie treat in my hand, eating applesauce. I had my juice downstairs. So I was kind of like all over the place, drinking that, eating this, and so my I remember I went to the restroom because I kept having to like urinate over and over and over again. And that's when my mom called her primary care physician. And she was like, oh yeah, Chloe's having these symptoms, blah, blah, blah. And she said, she was like, I want you to go ahead and she was like, check her blood sugar. My mom was like, check her blood sugar. So she checked me and it read 500. And that's when it either said 500 or HI. My mom claims that it was 500, but I know for a fact it said HI. And she called the doctor back. She was like, oh, it says this. And the doctor was like, if you don't get off this phone with me right now and rush her to the emergency room. And I was like, huh? She was like, get her to the emergency room now. So I'm over here, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, what's going on. My mom's making phone calls. She's letting everybody know I got to take Chloe to the hospital. I get there and we go pick up my uncle at the time, and we drive to the emergency room. She checks me again. It's still reading HI. They get me into the emergency room. They get me into my room, and they hooking me up and stuff. And I overhear them. They're like, "Oh, is she a big girl? Like she blah blah blah." Like this is what the doctors they're asking about me, and I'm like, "What are they talking about?" They was starving me. The only thing I was thinking about was food at that time because I didn't know what was going on. But long story short, I got diagnosed. They had to send me over, transport me over to a children's hospital and in Chicago, La Arbita Children's Hospital. Shout out to them because they took very good care of me. But whew, that's how I found out I was, I'm like, oh, I'll be taking shots and stuff for the rest of my life.
For the
Wow.
rest of my days.
I said, wow, okay. So, oh my gosh, like I remember that day like it was yesterday. And people don't know, like, when events like that happen, especially when you're diagnosed with a health condition or, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be cancer or anything like that. Like for a kid, that sticks with you up here. So I still remember everything to this day to like a T. So, but yeah, that's my little story and how I got diagnosed.
So I'm up here going through the reels in my head of your diagnosis because when you said that your mom said that it's at 500, I was thinking about my own diagnosis, and I know that the meter wouldn't read past 500.
Right.
So I was like, that's probably what it was. That's why your mom was like, 500 because it wouldn't read past that, even though it rated high.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, she was confused at the time, on why, because she really didn't have
Mhm.
let me not put words in her mouth because I know she gonna listen to this and see it. So, so I know for a fact, like, she didn't know, but once she started to understand like what was going on, and the doctors, they sat my parents down and was talking to them, and they, of course they had like somebody in there to comfort just in case they started crying. And my parents was like, okay, so what does she need to do? And then my mom, I remember she told me the nurses and the doctors kind of looked like, okay, like they're not crying, they're not. And my parents, they had a lot of belief in faith in God and knowing that I was going to be taken care of no matter what. And they said, and I remember my mom told me, and these words stick with me. She said, um, don't let diabetes, don't let diabetes overcome you. And also too, I'm not a victim to diabetes. And at the time as a kid, I was like, well, what does that mean? So as I got older, I understood what it meant, and I wasn't going to let diabetes dictate how I eat. I wasn't going to let diabetes dictate how I go to, how I live about my life, going to the gym, um, you know, dating and other things like that. So as I got older, I understood what she was saying, and just saying basically like, you may have diabetes, but diabetes don't have you. And I said, now I
Mhm.
get it. Now I get it.
Your mom instilled in you early on that you are more powerful than this.
Yes.
With her faith and belief, like she knew that her child was still 100% her child, and no
Right.
matter what comes your way, no matter how many stones get tossed at you, that you will always be her child, and you will continue your growth and development no matter what. I'm
Right.
pretty sure there were nights on end where your parents were like, I don't know what to do, but they had a higher faith, and they also just knew the innocence of child can overcome any and everything.
Yes. Yes. 100%. I mean, and do you hit the nail right on the head? Because I remember when I was going through my little episodes of not wanting to take, my shots and things like that. And I'm gonna shout out my girl. She's in the group, Vicky. I was in touch with her. She's in the group. You'll see. I think you know who I'm talking about. I hope you do. We've been following each other, and we recently connected on TikTok, and I didn't realize it was her that I was talking to, because we were all in a live, and that's how I was meeting like other people. And I heard a beeping noise, and I said, wait a minute. I said, I don't have on my Dexcom yet. I said, who is that? And so that's when I kind of put in the check. She went mute. So I asked her, I said, oh, is everything okay? I said, are you wearing like a Dexcom? Is your blood sugar, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, yeah. She was like, I'm low. I'm over here trying to eat my snacks. I said,
Were
okay, cool.
were y'all in a diabetes? Was it a diabetes chat or?
No, so there was a girl that I ended up following on TikTok, and she was on a live. And so we all just kind of like befriended each other. And so I got inside the live. It was just having normal chit chat. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay. And I found out the girl that was hosting the live, her sister was also a diabetic. So I'm like, okay, like we're all a big happy family over here. So, it was funny because now we're like super close. We message each other and talk to each other all the time. And congratulations to her, and because she's supposed to be having a baby today. But anyway, um, but she was talking to me about what she dealt with as a kid, and she was saying how she just didn't care. She was like she wasn't really taking her medicine and things like that. Because she wanted to eat what she wanted to eat. And I said, wow, like even though it's kind of bad, it made me feel good, because I'm like, okay, I wasn't tripping. Like I wasn't the only one that really felt like that. And those were the things that my parents had to deal with. Like, like, do you know the seriousness of this? Like, kids and people die from this, and you can get your toes, your fingers cut off. Yeah, you could go blind, all this. So they try to tell me like, this is what you need to do. And my mom would just continue to pray for me, and she'll remember the words that came to her, which was, I may have diabetes, but diabetes don't have me. And those were the words that's something that she kept saying, because she knew what I was going through. And this is also another reason why I'm on the path that I'm on with younger kids, because I know what it feels like to, have that experience. And then also what led me down that road was, what led me down that road was some words from a diabetic counselor, or an educator. She was in the hospital the time that I was going in and out. And I had a very impactful moment to me. And there was a time where I was eating something and my blood sugar stayed normal, and I didn't have to take any insulin. And it made me feel good as a kid, because in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I don't have it anymore.
Like diabetes is gone, right?
Okay. Like, I'm like, I get to do whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. I don't gotta, worry about my parents anymore, whatever. And I was telling her about this because I remember I went into the hospital for a DK, go figure. I'm thinking I don't have it anymore. And I talked to the lady and I said, because there was always that little faith in me that I only have this for a short period of time. And we're going to believe for everyone that the cure is coming fast and quick. But I remember I was talking to her, and out of innocence, out of a child's innocence and joy and mindset, I'm like, yeah, I was over my grandmother's house and I had pot roast and all this other stuff. And I had a little bit of, it was like the squirt. I was like, I had some of that. I said, and my blood sugar was fine. And I was thinking like, oh my God, I don't have diabetes anymore. And it was like a switch in her, and it was weird. It was the weirdest thing ever. And I remember she leaned over and looked me right in my face, and it was really like a cold. You know how you could tell when somebody's vibe just changed? She was like, "Yeah, it's never going away." I said, "Okay," and that was when the depression and the trigger warning, suicidal thoughts and stuff started happening for me. And that's where the I don't care attitude came in, where I was just like, whatever. I'm done with diabetes. I don't even care. I don't even care if it was in my brain. Like, I was like, I don't even care if I was to die today. At least I'll be free from it. At least my parents won't have to worry about, what, am I okay? And, other things like that. So I remember I started cry. I like burst out into tears after she said that. And it was like she snapped out of something. And she was like trying to pass me tissues, trying to help me dry my face. And I'm like, girl, don't touch me. But I remember I walked back to my hospital room because my mom she was sitting in the room on the phone. And she looked at me and she was like, what's wrong? I was like, oh, nothing. I got something in my eye. I remember I looked out in the window and I said, never again. I said, I'm so done with this life. And her words, especially as a kid, that's why I tell people to be very careful about what you say. Because what you say can stick with someone and they can take it a different way and it can impact them for life. And so her words really impacted me, and it impacted me for, now I can say it was for the plot, but it did impact me in such a way that I really stopped caring for my body and caused me to have very high A1Cs, like 15, 16, all that. And that's what really led me up to how I was. But like I said, thankfully and prayerfully, like I got out of it as I reached like high school and adulthood. So yeah.
Yeah. I always emphasize this to medical professionals, people that I've worked with, that when someone is diagnosed with a chronic health condition, aside from the physicalities of it and getting all of the specialist medical team, you also need a team of therapeutic measures.
Yeah.
We need that mental health, emotional well-being support.
Yeah.
And those doctors during onset and diagnosis, I mean, they may be doing the best of their ability because that's their profession, but they truly do lack the knowledge and wherewithal of getting a chronic health condition such as a lingering one, that is type 1 diabetes, where the variables shift nonstop 24/7, where those variables shift and they actually change our thoughts, our emotions. We need that support from day one.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, your mom was invoking the strengths and powers of God. She was doing that. And with that, also, we need that mental health support,
Yeah.
that guidance, because I'm like, it was a traumatic experience for you. but
Hmm.
it was also a traumatic experience for the entirety of your family
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I would never expect, as you said, 9-year-old Chloe with the Tweety Bird cake, like with the
Yeah.
Tweety Bird cake, like to get diabetes. And then I don't know how long it was, maybe a year or whatever later, your grandma's eating the pot roast.
Yeah.
Like you got all the potatoes and all of that. And you're
Oh,
like, my blood sugar's not moving. Like I'm good. Because as a child, nothing is forever. The only
right.
thing that's forever that we feel is like love,
Hmm.
love from our family, love we have to give to our friends. And like we never think of at those young ages that someday I'm going to watch grandparents pass on, cousins, aunts, uncles. At 9 years old, that thought doesn't exist. Everything's forever.
Right. Yeah.
But when they tell you that you have diabetes and it's not going away, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like heartbreaking, heart wrenching. Like it's like you done built all of this up. Like, yeah, I'm good now. Like a 5-year-old who learns how to ride a bike.
Right.
Like, yeah, and then all of a sudden you crash into something.
Yeah.
You crash, and because of that traumatic experience of that crash, you don't want to get up and get back on that bike and try again. Because every time you get back up and get on that bike to try again, you feel as though you're going to crash and burn again.
Yeah.
And that's what you just told. You said that, like looking out that window, you were like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've had conversations with so many people who have felt that way. One of the main reasons I got into doing the work that I do is because of my cousin. She's 28 now, and she was diagnosed when she was 12.
Mm.
And probably about 5 or 6 years ago, she came to me and said, like, like she had a 17 A1C. And this was after living with diabetes for like 10 years.
Oh.
And I said, I'm going to do whatever I can to help you. And within a year or two time, she got her A1C down to 6.5, had a healthy baby girl, and like she's so much better today.
Yes. Thank God. Yes. Whew, I that's what I'm working on is my A1C again. And I know we had talked about it, so
Wherever
uh,
you want your A1C to be, I can help you get it there with no dietary restrictions.
yes, because I am not on my pump anymore because that stuff is expensive, and I'm already paying out of pocket for like a bunch of other things. So as of right now, I am um I'm using pins. And I'm still on my Dexcom. So I go through it. I get it through Walmart, my pharmacy, because it's not that much. It's only like $40. But I was like, okay, well, that's better than what I was getting before. Um, but yes, but oh my goodness, my going through what I went through, transitioning from the pump, because my body was so used to me getting continuous insulin. And then when I had to switch from that to the pins, my body was like, what the heck you doing? So it had my blood sugars like up and down. And then going through my own personal issues, like like in my relationships and stuff like that. It's like I was stressed. I really wasn't eating. Um, and if I did eat, I was snacking at night. Then I would forget to take my medicine and then I would take it too late. So now my blood sugar is like all over the place and it caused my A1C to go back up to 11. I said, oh my God, I haven't been at 11 in a while. Like, and I can tell because my body, it responds to that now. Like, it because I'm getting older, but it's like, what's going on? That's exactly what my body has been doing, but I'm getting better because now I'm going to the gym 5 days a week. I meal prep now. I have changed my diet big time. And then on top of that, kudos to me, I stopped eating sweets and I don't necessarily drink soda anymore. And it's for various reasons, but I I was like, I have to make a change. And I talked to my endocrinologist and something in me, and this is how I knew it was the maturity coming up out of me was like, it's I know you're used to, oh, you can have it, you can, but it was something in me, and everybody will get here. But it was like, it's time to change. And I honestly feel like it's for the better for me because what's on my bloodline and what runs through my family, it's like you want to make sure that you can, you're eating healthy and things like that so you can have your own children. So, when it's time for you to give birth and stuff, they're not coming over to you telling you, oh, preeclampsia and all types of other stuff. Oh, we got to do an emergency C-section and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to trust and believe that I can, get my body and my A1C back to where it needs to be and really start reaching out more to the community, the diabetes community, because everybody is experiencing something similar. And tips and tricks, they work from everybody. So, yeah.
I just had to take down a note real fast. I put a resources because I don't know if you know, like I'm the resource king. Like, someone actually reached out to me recently, was like, you know, anybody who need any tandem supplies? They were like pumps and sets, and they had all of like years worth. So,
Oh, wow.
reach back out to them. But, like if you need pump supplies, whatever, if you want to get back on that journey, just reach out to me and I'll see what I can do.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna try and get myself down again. But I may end up going back on the pump. I kind of like a little bit of freedom of not
Freedom.
change it 3 days, but
I know.
I may. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds for
Right,
that.
because the future does hold a family and child for you, like you
Yes.
said. And that just made I wanted to ask you a bit about that, because again, you were 9 years young when diagnosed. Who does your family consist of?
Oh Lord. Ah, well, I know there is. So it's just me, my brother, my sister, and then of course it's like my mom and dad. But that's about it. That's about it. So,
That's all you
but
need. That's your family.
yeah. And then there's also my cousin too. We're first cousins. So, you know, that is somebody that I do tell everything to,
Mhm.
you know, before I tell my mom.
But before you tell Instagram,
Yeah, before people on Instagram, that's my little diary right there. I
look,
I tell y'all anything,
look,
really.
it's cool. Do you know if you have any family history of other autoimmune conditions or type 1 diabetes?
I know my cousin, just my mom's cousin, she was diagnosed at the age of 20 something. She got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. My uncle got diagnosed with, which is my mom's brother, because she only has one brother. He was diagnosed. I'm trying to think, does he have type 1 or is it type 2? I think it's type 2. Um, I'm trying to think of anybody else that I know. I know it was a couple of aunties and uncles. Well, my mom's aunties and uncles that had diabetes, and including my dad's sister, she also has diabetes. So it runs in the family.
Right.
Sadly, it runs in the family. But my mom, she said one thing that kind of caught her attention was when I was 6 months old, and she noticed I wasn't having a lot of bowel movements as a baby, and they wouldn't happen as normal as like as your average baby
Hmm.
would. She was like, you were doing like a lot of pain, but she was like, bowel movements. She was like, it would take a couple days for everything to come out. And she was like, she kept asking the doctor, she was like, is that normal? Blah, blah, blah. Dad was like, oh, yeah, she's fine, you know. And my mom honestly thinks she was like, I believe like one of your organs probably just got tired and it just broke down. And she, she was just saying a lot. So that she believed that kind of took place on how, if one organ isn't working, then the other organs have to kick in, and she feels like there were some things that led up to me having diabetes and things like that. But she was like, that was one thing. She was like, I noticed with you. And she was like, but your brother and sister, she was like, they were fine. Of course, they was doing everything fine. But she was like, she was like, at 6 months.
You was the struggle baby.
I was the experiment. That's what I was.
Are you
The
the oldest of your siblings?
Yes, I am the oldest. And then there's my brother. He's the middle child. We're a year apart. And then my sister, she, we're 8 years apart. So she's 18 right now. She'll be 19 in February on the 14th. But yeah, I'm the oldest.
No,
So,
have you had your siblings or anyone else in your family get tested through TrialNet, or do you not know what TrialNet is?
um, no, I don't know
So
what TrialNet is, but I know that.
TrialNet will do, I mean, it's free screening to see if you have any of the auto antibodies that
Mhm.
will turn into type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
You can order it online, trialnet.org. Since you have type 1 diabetes, everyone in your family, your parents, your siblings can all get tested.
Yeah.
And I mean, because today with modern medicine, there's actually things such as T-Shield, which can prolong the onset of it. And
Hmm.
also, if you know someone has those auto antibodies, you can be more prepared for things such as DKA, because we don't
Hmm.
want anyone to go into that.
Oh
Nobody wants the surprise of diabetes.
no. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and DKA is the worst.
Mhm. Yeah.
The worst
Um,
experience.
or is there anything that you feel as though is misunderstood about you and diabetes? And also, did diabetes affect you when you were younger, like with friends in school?
Um, it did affect me in school, because I was dealing with a lot of uh, during the time that I wasn't really taking the things I should have been taking. Um, I was missing school. I never finished up my homework because the type of homework we had to stay up and do it. And I just wasn't doing it. And some things I didn't understand because, like I said, I would be at home. Um, and another thing was that how diabetes can affect your focus, your brain, your just everything. It was really effective for me, because I noticed I would fall asleep a lot in class. And the reason for that was because my blood sugar was high. I didn't go to sleep one time. Um, and it's funny because as a child, every single time I went to my doctor's appointment, they would always ask me like, "Oh, how's your grades?" And I'd be like, well, we're kind of failing in this class." So I that's how it would usually take place like that. So um but yeah, it did affect me a lot, and I don't think a lot of people knew. Um
The medical providers do ask that because there's a direct relation to like those high blood sugars and grades.
yes.
Because that's I'm not sure if back then 17 years ago, 17, 18 years ago, if your mom even knew about things such as a 504 plan or IEP, which you today as a educator know about. Um,
Yeah.
like because back then you it would have gave you more ample time to complete tasks, um, all of those things. You wouldn't be so rushed into anything you were doing. It would have been able to help your focus and drive as well.
Yeah, my and um it's funny you say that because when I was in the sixth grade or seventh grade, I think I was in the seventh grade, and they were gonna try and hold me back, and it was basically just due to my grades and um just educational wise. I wasn't necessarily passing a lot of stuff, and half the time, well, the majority of the time, because of that, was due to my diabetes. And so my mom was like, "You're not about to flunk my child." And she was like, "And here's her 504, blah blah blah." So of course, like she got some help from the because I during that time I went to Phoenix Children's Hospital out here in Arizona. So they were able to help my mom uh with that situation. And of course, like, it was a little bit easier for me and her, because after that my mom she just basically took me out that school, and then I went somewhere else where they, you know, they understood my backstory and everything like that. And it helped out a lot. And so I was glad. And this is what I tell people, like, please get on a 504 plan, because it will save you. And then also too, it'll help people help you. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I got on my 504 plan like pretty quick. So, and it's I'm trying to think, was it an easy process? You know, I'm trying to remember everything. It was so long ago, but I know my mom took care of everything. Um, but yeah, for sure, I was on a 504 plan, which really like saved my butt plenty of times. So,
That's good. Yeah, your mom was on it. Do you think that like knowing when you went back to school, did the students know you had diabetes, or like was there a conversation that was held from the teaching staff to the students and families, or was it like all new to them? And
um, it was it was new. It was somewhat new to them because some of them knew already. But I would say, so I didn't necessarily like tell the students, but I'm pretty sure all the teachers, the some of the teachers knew. And but I was saying to I would say to like some of my friends, like, okay, well, I'm like, well, I'm a diabetic, and um I'm like, this is what I have to take, this is blah blah blah. So I was like educating them in a sense, and they understood. And then of course you have some people that said, you have some people that would say, um, well, not say, but they would like do little idiotic things, you know, because I had one where I had bolus for what I was getting ready to eat, and one of them took one of my cookies and ate it. I said, I bolus. for that. You can't blah, blah, blah. So in return, I took something from them and they're like, no, you got to give me that bag. And I said, my case is more serious than your phone. Cause I remember I had took the phone and I said, I'm not giving it back until you give me my cookie back. That's what I told them. And I said, you can live without this, but I can't, I'm going to be the one suffering because my blood sugar is going to be dropping. And I say, you don't have to deal with that. I do. Um, so yeah, I've had like little moments like that. I've also had a really nice nurse, back then, and his name was Nurse Kelly. And he helped me out big time. When I would have my moments and he'll come into the classroom and check on me. Chloe, what's your blood sugar? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't check. And then he'll take me outside. He'll sit me down. Let's check you. Let's see where you are. So he was kind of like the one that will reel me back in. But he did it in a way that was therapeutic. So when he saw that my blood sugar was high, he was like, okay, let's take some insulin. And then he was like, we're going to walk all the way back to my office. And then he was like, I want you to sit in there, chill for a little bit. And then, yeah. So I had a good supportive, like, little community within that school. But yeah, I feel like not a lot of people knew, but but there was one little incident that did take place. My mom dropped my lunch off and I didn't have lunch. And during those times you had to pay for lunch and I didn't have the money, but my mom dropped my lunch and my phone off. And then she had that at the front. And then I asked, I had asked him, I said, hey, can I have like a slice of pizza? So I don't, blah, blah, blah. And so my mom picks us up and she's standing outside with one of my old friends, dads out there. And she was like, oh, did you get your lunch and stuff because I told her about my day. And I was like, no. She was like, what you mean you didn't get your food? And she was like, I was like, oh, I didn't know you bought it. And she was like, if I walk up here and it's up here in this office, I'm going to be upset. So Mama Bear done came out. She walked up in the office. I walked up there and I saw like my phone and my lunchbox in there. And then that's when the lady, she was like, oh, you finally came up here and got your stuff. I said, y'all never called for me. I said, don't lie. And so my mom went off politely. She was like, she's a type 1 diabetic. She's taking medicine. She has to eat. She was like, you didn't call, let her know. You got her phone sitting right there. Her food is right here. And so my food was sitting up there since probably like 11 a.m. And it was for something for us, So yeah, she was like it was a hot mess.
I do have a few questions I wanted to ask you. You mentioned how like your family consists of you, your brother, sister, mom, dad, and a cousin. I knew ahead of this conversation that you were originally from the Chicago area.
Mm-hmm.
And you're now in the Arizona area. How did you make your way there? Or how did your family go from Chicago?
Yeah.
Are you literally from Chicago or just the area?
No, I'm literally from there.
Chicago.
Yes.
My best friend growing up is from Chicago. Yeah, how'd you get from Chicago to Arizona?
So long story
as long as it's legal.
Oh yeah, 100%. So it started off with my pastors. They came down here for business and also vacation, and they were led to start a church here. Well, build a church here, and then of course start their school here. So of course, with my mom being one of the main people in the church, she prayed about it, and of course, like she got the confirmation to go. And then the funny thing is, my dad never told her, but he always wanted to move to Arizona. So it was like the perfect, opportunity for our family. And then on top of that, my dad had better job opportunities out there. So that's how we came about here, just helping our pastor build a church, of course, and then also to a better opportunity for my family and for my dad and mom to provide and things like that. So that's how we made it down here.
I had to ask that because I recorded with someone, one of my first 10 guests. Um, she's from Chicago, but her family, her mom, like they packed up and moved to Arizona.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I'm trying to remember how old she was at the time. It was right around the time she was diagnosed. I think she was maybe around 7 or 8 at the time.
Okay.
And they went from Arizona to California. And she's been living in California, like Southern California, ever
Ooh,
since then. Yeah.
wow. Wow. California is expensive. That's an expensive place. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Arizona it's beautiful. And I've gotten a question before if I would I ever want to move back to Chicago? And for the food, and I wouldn't want to go back, but I would say I would always visit because that's my home. But there's so many things happening in Chicago. I'm like, I'll stay where I'm at. So yeah,
The old Chicago that you left isn't there anymore.
yeah, it's not.
Not at all. From gentrification to everything that's occurring within the city limits, like with crime, violence, like
Yes,
it's not the same.
yeah, yeah, I agree. It's not.
Are both of your parents from there?
Yes, both of my parents were born and raised.
So they're a typical Chicago love story.
Yes, yes, they are actually.
Right. And you've been now living with type 1 diabetes, you said, for what, 17, going on 18 years?
Yes, for 17 years.
Today, I mean, you previously stated how like diabetes hasn't really changed who you are as a person, but I must ask because, I mean, like you said, like you're a single young lady.
Hmm.
For the most part, like you're running this all on your own. Do you have any fears living with type 1 diabetes?
Um, I would say I did, and I'm slowly overcoming it. And that is just wondering how life would be when I do get married and wondering, okay, will my diabetes be stable? Especially when it's time to have children and things like that. Because, I'm not getting any younger. So that, and then some worries. I'm like, okay, well, will it pass down to my kids? I'm like, I'm going to be as strong as my mom, and how she was when she found out she was diagnosed with me, if that happens, because I know genes, they work differently. So those were some fears that I had was, okay, will it affect me uh totally with me wanting to have children, or is it going to affect me down the road? And those were like the biggest fears, but I was starting to I am now overcoming those fears because I had to remember my mom's words and remember the words that came to her about me. It was like, yeah, you may have diabetes, but it doesn't have you. And
Right.
you need to, not be a victim. Don't be a victim to the disease because, you could do so much more. And I do get inspired. I get inspired by seeing young kids as well. And, people that are a little bit older that's doing their thing and living their life and doing what they need to do. It doesn't matter if they're diabetic or not. I get inspired and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let this stop me and I'm not going to let this dictate my future. I'm going to do what I need to do, um, just to stay strong and just, be that inspiration and that light to other kids because now I know my purpose. I know what I'm supposed to do. But yeah, other than that, those used to be my fears. But like I said, I'm overcoming that day by day.
Do you have any fears of like being alone with diabetes, like the severe lows and all of those things?
Um, at first I did. I did have two, oh, not two. Actually, yes, I had about two episodes of having a low blood sugar and I wasn't necessarily alone. This happened like two or 3 years ago. I wasn't necessarily alone. I went to go get my lashes done. It was Christmas break, and I just got off work, so my mom dropped me off, and um, I really wasn't eating throughout the day, and plus, I didn't have my Dexcom. I only had my pump on, so I was snacking on like cookies and all that stuff, and I'm giving myself insulin. Not really. Stupid decision, stupid mistake, but um, I was taking medicine not knowing exactly where my blood sugar was. And so I got there, ladies doing my lashes, and I laid back. I went to sleep. I woke up again. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for snoring. She was like, it's okay, girls. She was like, I know it's been a long day for you. Everybody does it. It's fine. I'm like, okay. So I fall back to sleep and I wake up for like literally 1 minute and I felt my blood sugar dropping. And I was too like fatigued and too weak to say anything. And I remember I closed my eyes and next thing you know, like I woke up and I felt my body like jerking like really bad. And as I'm coming to, it's kind of like the movie, like it's like a movie scene that literally happened. Like I'm waking up, everything's blurry, and then it starts getting clear, and I'm looking, and there's paramedics like all around me, and they were like holding my legs down and holding my arms down, and the first person that I called out was my lash artist, not knowing that she was a ICU nurse before. And I found out that my blood sugar dropped to 20 and I was in the process of them not being able to wake me up. As soon as the paramedics pulled up, that's when she told them I started having a seizure. And I've never experienced that ever in my life. And I woke up feeling so weird. I'm like, what is going on? I'm moving slow. They got to call my mom and said my medical emergency card is on my iPhone. My iPhone couldn't even read my face because I just looked weird. It was the craziest thing. And they called my mom and my mom and my dad sped back over to the house because they were like halfway in like Maricopa, Arizona. But I ended up in the ambulance, of course, and they took me. But that right there did scare me, and it had a hold on me for a little bit because I'm like, okay, if I was to go to sleep right now, like, is the same thing going to happen? And it was very scary. And I was like, wow, like your life can literally flash before your eyes, and it doesn't matter if you're like really, really healthy with diabetes or if it doesn't matter. Your life can literally flash. And had the same thing happen to me in my bedroom. And my mom was trying to wake me up and stuff. And they ended up calling. So then I wake up and the paramedics are on my bed. And they're like, okay, she came to, blood sugar low again at 20 something. So yeah, that's the only thing, like when I'm alone, is that. But I'm learning now that I always keep snacks with me. Um, and I always make sure I check where I'm at. Because if I drop anywhere between 100 to like 90 something, then I'm like, okay, let me pop a few, snacks or something in. And especially when I go to the gym, because I do go to the gym by myself. So, and I'm pretty sure nobody would know what to do if, I was to pass out or something. So I always make sure I have a snack or anything like that, or drink something before I start working out. But yeah, those are my little fears of, you know, if something was to happen with me being alone, with diabetes. But I'm learning, like I said, I'm overcoming certain fears that I have had before.
That's part of living off experience. Um,
Mhm.
do you use any third-party apps such as SugarMate, or do you know what SugarMate is?
I know what Sugar Mate is. I haven't used it. I'm trying to find different
Because
apps to use though.
yeah, like SugarMate will actually show you how much your blood sugar dropped every 5 minutes. Like it'll actually show
Oh,
like -10, -20, minus like and that's how you can truly predict if you're about to have like a severe low.
wow.
And
Okay.
at night, it will actually call your phone
Oh,
because those Dexcom alerts we sleep through no matter.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you can put on whatever call alert you want, like a
Okay.
sonar or anything, and it will actually call your phone at night and let you know. It'll be like, Chloe, your blood sugar is low. It is at 49 milligrams per deciliter. Like it, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because when I was in my relationship, I used to be on the phone. I would be on FaceTime with um, my boyfriend at the time. And anytime my alarm would go off, because sometimes, like, because I told him about the story that I went through. So anytime that I would go through a low, he would call me on the phone, like, be like, Chloe, wake up, your blood sugar is low. Because on Dexcom, it has where you could share. So his phone would also go off as well.
So
And
he was your sugar mate.
yeah, that he was the sugar mate that he would be the one letting me know. And especially if I turn back over, because it usually happens, he was like, get up and go get some juice. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's right. He said I don't want to go
Man,
through what I went through before.
you know how much I dislike that though. When someone's like wakes you up and you're sleeping, they're like, go get something. Your blood sugar is low. Your alarm's going off. I'm like, and so in my head, I'm like, you need to go get me the juice.
Yeah, you go get it for me.
Like, come on, man. I'm sleeping. You heard it. Like, mm,
Okay, literally. But luckily,
like,
I have a fridge in my room, so I can just like reach across and get what I need to get.
got you. You doing well. You took that step to prevent it from happening again.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. You said you've had two severe low seizures. If
Yeah.
I could, I can't even count how many I've had over
Ooh.
over the years. It's been a while since I've had a severe one. I mean, since I got my pup in 2019 and trained him, I haven't had any. But ahead of that, I was having them like week.
Yeah.
It felt like I was having them weekly at least.
Wow.
Yeah, like EMTs showing up, and I remember at work, um, just walking like with my coworker, and he's like, "Will, you all right?" And then all of a sudden, I just started seizing, like when like, and that happened multiple times at work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is scary. That's the most, especially when I'm teaching. I've had lows before, and my kids are so cute. They're 3, 4, and 5. So I had the chance to introduce to them, like, this is what an insulin pump is. this is what is on Miss Chloe's arm. Then I would play around with them and be like, oh, I'm a cyborg, I'm part robot. And they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. Here's my machine. So they know, like, when anytime they hear the beep go off, of course, you have some, what is that? What is that? And then it'd be like, do you need your juice? And I'm like, yes,
Like
Miss
you're a
Chloe does need her
toddler,
juice.
like you're a toddler like
Literally.
them.
They are so cute, and they watch everything I do. So they know when I'm like feeling low, or but are you tired? You're not feeling good. You need a snack. Here's my Oreos. And I'm like, I'm not gonna eat your Oreos, kid. But yeah, it does sometimes happen to me. But luckily for me, being a preschool teacher, you always have access to snacks. Doesn't matter.
Always.
Always. So I know when I start to feel it, of course, like I dismiss them safely. So I tell them, hey, go to centers, go play. And I would take care of everything at the desk with at least one or two of them in my face, talking about some, I love you. Can I give you a hug? I'm like, no, Miss Chloe needs her space because I'm already low and I can be a little irritable. So no, not right now. But yeah, I've learned to basically take extra steps for me not to go too low and for it to be like a very dangerous episode.
The young people, they truly are like the most sympathetic and empathetic, like truly. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they may want part of that snack also, but
Mm-hmm.
have you had a chance? I know like sometimes because I mean I worked for preschool for like near 10 years. Um, have you had a chance to like do y'all have like movie days sometimes like where you might show a film, like an educational video or whatnot?
Um, yeah, I had a chance to.
Because I'm wondering, like, with preschoolers have like the Caillou episode, Emma's Snacks. Do you know that episode?
Oh, it's been so long since I've seen Caillou.
When we get off
um,
here, Google Emma's Snacks. It's about Caillou finds out that a classmate has type 1 diabetes. Her name's Emma.
oh,
And Caillou is like trying to help her with everything. And she's like, I'm fine, Caillou. And he's like, Emma, but you're sick. You have diabetes. And
oh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't remember that, but I will say, I I had a chance to read a book to them, and I took my JDRF bear that I've had since I was a kid, and I took it and I showed them like the different like the patches and stuff, and where you can like put the insulin pump or put a shot, and then I read the book to them, and then I know there was a Disney Mickey Mouse book that I had, and I read that to them, and it was, oh my goodness, I can't remember the name of it, but I read that to them, and it basically talked about, I think it was, oh my God, I can't remember. But I know it was like the monkey, the little monkey, I think,
Like,
had diabetes.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I read that to them, and they enjoyed it. They
Have
do
you ever,
so good.
have you ever had a student with diabetes?
Um, no, but I did work with a student. Oh my gosh, it was some time ago when I was a paraprofessional before I became a preschooler. Um, I had a chance to work with them, and one sad thing about them though was that the parents were the kid was independent, but they wanted him to be independent, and he only had like 5 units left in his pump, and his blood sugar was extremely high. And I'm like, he needs insulin. They're not bringing insulin. And they're like, oh, they want him to be independent. I said, that's dangerous. Like, what do you mean be independent? And so what I did was I basically I tried to help him, but I told him, I said, and then I told the front office, I said, listen, call his parents right now. I said, they need to bring him up some insulin. Because I said, he's not going to survive off of 5 units alone. I said, that's horrible. And I'm like, I've been through that before, and I know how his body is feeling. Like you know the feeling of like when your blood sugar is super high and your muscles start to feel like, oh my God, I can't move. And
everything's inflamed.
oh my gosh, everything starts to hurt. Your chest feels tight. I'm like, he needs some help. But yeah, that's probably like the only student I really got a chance to be close to and do that with.
Right. I sense that because of your lived experience with diabetes, like you've built a lot of confidence, self-confidence in your own healing and being able to help others. I mean, you're a preschool teacher by profession. You want to be a psychologist like you were taking those steps because of, I mean, if you were to have
Yeah.
had someone like yourself in your young life as a teacher, I mean, that's someone to look up to, someone who's
Yes.
in your corner, a part of your circle that's going to help you. And that's a great benefit.
100%. Yeah. I I honestly wish I had someone like myself outside of my mom, but I would say um as of now, like my family has been my family and friends since I became an adult, and life has been life, and I had the chance to really make friends, make friends along the way, and they were able to help me where I'm at, and it just put me on the right path, really. Um,
That's good.
and what encouraged me some more was me getting back into the gym and changing my eating habits and um, just being more self-aware about my health and just everybody still accepts me in the way that I am. So I'm very grateful for my friends and family, especially the group that you have me in, like, because I felt like I really didn't have nobody.
Which
And
which group are you talking about?
which group did we start off with?
Is that the passing the torch group?
I think so. I think so. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because the group that I have now is the largest group of people of color with type 1 diabetes in the world. The
Yeah.
250. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no group like that.
Yeah. That's the one too.
Okay.
I
Has diabetes affected you and relationships over the years?
Good question. Um, let's see. Yes and no. Um, it I would say for like my first relationship uh that I had like 5 years ago. I was, talking about, oh well, because we talked about getting married and things like that. It's the same old that happened in my most recent one that that I was in, and it all, when talking about kids and stuff, I always talked about, I've always explained to them, like, oh, like with my diabetes, I said, my body is very different. I'm not like your average woman that could, even though there's a lot of stuff going on nowadays with other women, I'm like, I'm not like your average one that can go ahead and just start having kids. I said I have to make sure my A1C is low. They have to keep a close watch on me and things like that. And it didn't affect me that much, but I felt like in my second relationship, it kind of did in a sense because um, it was just so with me, me and my wild ideas, I like to I was like, "Oh, I would love to like have a home birth and blah blah blah." And my boyfriend at the time, he was like, "No, you're not." He was like, "They need to keep a close eye on you and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "I can still blah blah blah. I can still do this." And I felt like sometimes that kind of put me in a box. And then also too, I felt like um and this is just my own opinions, that certain family members or whatever, like, they're like, oh, you're dating a girl with diabetes. There's a possibility that, if you have kids, they might come out with that, or they might end up getting it later on in life or whatever. And those have been like the little insecurities that I would have, and it would just mess me up. So yeah, I felt like it did affect me a little bit, but yeah.
It's understood how it would affect you because even without diabetes, if you hear someone's family members repetitively telling them things
Yeah.
about the person they're with, like it could be anything. Like, I don't like the way she talks. I don't like the way she dresses, things like that. Like
Yeah.
that person, because those are their family members, as much as they say it doesn't affect them and they went and changed because of them, it does alter them.
Mhm.
It it's on repeat in their minds. Like they may not have sensed that their entire lives they've spent trying to appease their family members, their parents, but that's what
Yeah.
they do. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
a few weeks ago, I was having a conversation with another T1D, and I told them something, and you're gonna be like, "What?" Look, I'm preparing for the reaction on your face because something else I recall about you, and it's been too long, and I keep on telling you every few months or so. I tell you this, Chloe, where's your art? I remember you. Look, I made you fall off the island. You just fell off the bridge. That's crazy. I remember. Yes, you draw anime
Mhm.
and you do it real good, but you have stopped. We
Yeah.
gotta get you back on that.
I know. I it's so many things have been happening. But I did fall off. I'm not gonna lie, I did fall off, but I am wanting to get back into it. And here's the funny thing that you say that now, because I was looking on doing making merch. Um and I was trying to design certain shirts that I wanted to like sell and stuff like that for
Mhm.
Journey with Chlo, and just like some funny diabetes memes that I was coming up with in my head. And I was like, you know what? I can draw this out, or I said, or I could be lazy and just have my dad draw, because I get it from my dad. So it runs in the family. My dad's a comic book artist. So he draws and stuff like that. And my sister, same thing. She draws really well. Me, I draw, but I kind of slacked off a little bit. But I'm gonna get back into it. So
Okay. You know
yeah.
why? What made me think about that? I was saying I was having a conversation with someone, and
Mhm.
there's something that you're big into, And when I tell you this, you're gonna give me like this dumbfounded look like, how? I have never in my life, what am I gonna, do you know what I'm gonna finish this with? Because you probably can't even think of it. Like, there's no way. I
I
have
feel you.
never in my life watched Dragon Ball Z. Never,
How?
ever in my life. I couldn't tell you the name of one character.
Oh my God. It's literally like the staple of everything. Like everybody watches it. Oh my
I
God.
have never, ever.
Wow.
I have
Is
never
it?
been into anime at all.
I mean, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but there's always that one little anime that somebody may come across, even though they haven't watched it, that sticks with them forever. And honestly, Dragon Ball Z for most people is a starter. I got introduced to it at the age of 2, and that's because of my dad.
Your dad.
Yeah, it's all my dad's fault when it comes to anime and things like that. It's all his fault. But other than that, like I got good recommendations for you. Whenever you wanna dip your feet in it just a little bit, we could we can exchange a couple shows.
Yeah, I was telling someone, I said, yeah, my brother, even my younger brother, who's 3 years younger than me, he was never into it. And
Hmm.
but I remember like my cousin, him being big into it, like drawing and watching, like knowing every script word for word. Like that
Yes,
was his thing.
yes. Man, it's anime is such a relaxer, and it's just comforting, and also it's very like it's different things that you can literally compare your life to, or that you can understand. Like there's a certain genre called slice of life, and slice of life is basically like everybody's daily life. And what's funny is one of them has to do with a guy, and three of his five, it's either, yeah, between 3 or 5 of his other coworkers, and they work with children. And so I compare my life to it, because I'm like, everything that he's experiencing in this anime, I experience on the daily. So, oh my goodness, like it was hilarious, down to him entertaining the kids, talking about his life, talking about him going to the gym. Like everything is, I was like, oh my God, this is so me. So I feel like you just gotta
Mhm. Look,
find your cup.
I was telling someone last week, I said, like someone told me like Dragon Ball Z been out for like since the 70s or 80s or something. And I
Yeah.
said, what? I said, I thought it came about in the 2000s.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
It
like
was out.
I said, I never sold. I said, man, my coming of age, I was out in these streets. Like people that I
Yeah.
ran with wasn't into Dragon Ball. Like we couldn't even think about that. We was even watching TV. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
No. Yeah,
mm,
my mom, she never really watched anime either, but she married a man
mhm.
that that's into all of that. And so she has to deal with, oh, I'm gonna watch this. Oh, I'm gonna buy a couple action figures. Oh, I'm gonna draw this. Oh, I'm gonna wear this. So, but my mom of course, she came around and she started watching some stuff, and she actually got very interested into it, and so we kind of won her over.
I got you.
Yeah.
Now, my mom, when I was a kid, there's one anime, and it's like the origin, like of like what everything is today. Speed Racer.
Oh,
My mom absolutely loves Speed Racer. And when I remember when I was a kid, like 3, 4 years
yes.
old, like watching that late night with her.
Yes, yes, Speed Racer. I remember Speed Racer. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
And Astro Boy.
yeah, that's back in like the 70s, I think.
Yes. Yes.
And Sailor Moon.
Oh my goodness, yes. I love Sailor Moon. Oh my gosh. Like I remember I wanted to dress up like her for Halloween, but I was like, next time I will.
You can still do it. Look, couple weeks to go.
I could, but I'm too busy spending on my dog and making sure
Mhm.
he has his costume. So
Samson,
yes,
I remember. Huh?
yes. My boy Sam.
Yeah, he's a big boy now. What is he, like 2 now?
He is 1. He's
1.
1 years old. Yes, and he'll be 2 April. Yeah, April 24th. He'll be 2 years old.
King will
So
be 6 in April. I can't
uh,
believe he'll be 6. Like, time goes by fast.
it does, and you're not ready for it. So
Mhm. Right, right, right. So, as we do wrap up, I have a few questions for you. We did speak about relationships. And that was something I wanted to dive into, and we got there. But you've been living with diabetes again for almost 18 years. Have you ever imagined your life without diabetes?
oh yeah, plenty of times. Oh my gosh, I imagine myself like having diabetes, and especially how it affects certain aspects in your life. I'm like, you know, at times I always thought about like, okay, I'm pretty sure like my schooling would have been way different. I'm pretty sure I would have got better grades. I would have been in school way earlier um, than now, and um I'm like, I would have never had to struggle with my weight. I probably would have been, because I dealt with low self-esteem, and with low self-esteem and diabetes, and with my blood sugar being like very high, um, I could never really keep my weight on my body. And that was another thing too. You know, I feel like it affected the way I look. It affected, I'm like, does this affect like the attraction that guys may have towards me? Because I'm not like, I don't have the weight like all the other girls. And yeah, like I've always wondered, like, what will life be like? And
Oh,
honestly,
they must don't know that Chloe's 5'9". I remember that. I wrote that down.
yes, yes. Some people, oh
That
my
she is the
gosh,
stallion.
you know, I had to that too, being tall and stuff like that. Like I, and it's so funny because, oh my gosh, like I remember I got one comment that some random guy said. He was like, "Oh, you're too pretty to have diabetes." I said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, X, no." I said, "I am not talking to you," because I'm like, that was some crazy stuff that you're saying. Like, what? And it'd be like little weird comments, but other than that, like, yeah, I've always imagined, because here's one thing a lot of people don't know is that it was my senior year, and I remember I don't know, they had all the high schoolers take I think it was called the ASVAB test. Not sure. I think that's what it was. And I've always wanted to be a nurse, and I wanted to work in the military and be a nurse in the military. So when I found out that, as a diabetic, you can't really go just due to, anything could happen, especially while you're on a battlefield, whatever, you got to do stuff. And so I remember that totally killed one of my dreams for working, um, in the military. But I always thought, like, dang, if I didn't have diabetes, you know, I would be there. I would be doing that type of stuff. So, um, yeah, having diabetes has affected certain things in my life, but all I can say now is that I feel like diabetes has taught me a bunch of things. It taught me patience. Um, it taught me how to eat better. It taught me that life happens. Um, and it taught me how to just be prepared and just be ready for anything and everything. So, yeah.
Diabetes, although it is a great burden on us, hasn't been your greatest burden,
Right. No.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question, everlasting question that I leave everyone with here on this journey. So on the day a cure is truly here, meaning that that day I wake up and I send you a message. I'm like, Chloe, check your blood sugar. And you find out that you've been sitting at 80 all night. It hasn't gone up. It hasn't gone down. You wake up, you put your feet on the floor, and you so used to your blood sugar going like rising, like all of us,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't. And you find out like breaking news, diabetes worldwide has been cured. It's gone. Vamoose. Like your mom said, God intervened and has changed the trajectory of diabetes for all of us. It's gone. On that day, you find out diabetes is truly gone and you no longer have it. What do you do?
Uh, I feel like I'm gonna have a rush of emotions, to be honest. I dropped to my knees and start crying, really, because of so many battles that I have been through, my mom has been through, my family, everybody that's close to me, what we all have been through, and even the people that I have befriended in both T1D groups. Like, the experience, the things we have to go through, the different doctors, attitudes, people, relationships, money, finance, insurance, like all that stuff is effective. But to wake up and we have been cured, I lose my mind. I say that I lose my mind and I'm gonna just be like, oh my gosh, this day has finally came.
Oh,
Like,
you turning into DMX song. He said,
yeah,
y'all gonna make me
listen,
lose my mind.
literally,
Like,
oh my gosh,
mm,
literally. That's how I would react. That'd be the first thing I'll do is
right.
drop to my knees and cry and just be like, wow, this day has finally came. Like, yeah, that'd be my reaction.
And we speaking into existence someday, Chloe. That day
Yes,
will be here.
yes,
And
I
we
agree.
will drop to our knees. We will lose our mind. We
Yes.
will, I mean, because today we look at those people who just randomly like pick up a snack and just go hard and
Okay.
like, wow, like that's like mystical, like that's a magical thing that happens. Like
Yes,
it
yes.
doesn't, but yes, on that day, a cure is here. We will celebrate.
Oh yeah. 100%. We gonna celebrate. We gonna get the yacht and we going out.
Look, look, we gonna have big money to spend.
Okay, we gonna finally have some big money to spend. I had to spend it on insulin and all that stuff. So yes, I agree.
Yeah. Chloe,
Yes.
thank you. I truly appreciate you for joining me again on this journey that is the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. Because Chloe, you are someone that truly needs to be heard.
Oh, I thank you for even allowing me to be on here and to share my story. Even though I'm a yapper, I'm trying to shut my mouth, but I totally agree, and I totally thank you for even reaching out to me, even before everything has started. Like, because if you didn't, then I wouldn't know what to do. So I thank you for starting. for starting this and starting a platform and being the stepping stone and the foundation for everything that you have done and actually helping us build up and actually, be together and reach out to one another. So thank you.
You're welcome. And you are a yapper.
I am.
Look, if your mama say you a yapper, your daddy say you a yapper, I'm gonna say you a yapper. Look.
Listen, best believe, like I really used to be very quiet. I was a very quiet girl, and I came out my shell. Now here I am.
Look,
Yes.
the story of Ariel, right?
Yes.
I got you.